is an alternate universe where men live in isolation, locked far away from the only people they love and trust. Those lucky enough to maintain contact with family have a small window to the outside world.
May be recorded or monitored.
But balancing these relationships with the realities of life behind bars can be a serious challenge.
I'd like to pray for all the families throughout the world where incarcerated members in prison. We pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer.
Prison can put a strain on any relationship, and not just for inmates and their families. Angola's staff deal with similar struggles.
Hey, boys. Hey, it's that time. Come on, man.
Kathy Fontenot is not only an assistant warden,
You're gonna wear your new pants today, bud.
she's the devoted mother of 3.
See that? Don't you feel better? You look better. The mom thing is real challenging and real hard. There's so much at stake. I feel a lot more confident at the warden thing. All right. Very good.
As a key member of Warden Kane's staff, Kathy spends her days with inmates who have committed rape and murder, and handles issues ranging from drug use to inmate suicide.
You want me to make you pancakes you can have? Or no? No?
Such high-pressure work takes its toll. Divorce rates among Angola's staff are high, and Kathy's marriage has recently ended.
We still love each other. It's just that, we both want separate things.
I'll see ya.
For Kathy and other officers, keeping prison life separate from home life is the key to staying sane. But for inmates, maintaining a connection with the outside world may be the only way to survive. Every day, Todd Plaisance, also known as Tiger, pins his hopes on hearing from his family.
Sometimes you get mail, sometimes you don't. See, we get lucky tonight. I'm serving a natural life sentence for a second-degree murder. Came to Angola in 2000. I was supposed to get married in February, and I fell in January. So, wedding plans got canceled. My ex-old lady, she moved on, got involved with somebody else. The only thing I ask is that she won't prevent me from seeing my children. George Taylor. No, I can't raise them no more because I'm here, but don't take that from me.
The old weapon was out of young.
Any word from home is a blessing. But there's one letter Tiger's been waiting for since he arrived at Angola more than 10 years ago. Tiger has written letter after letter to his son Tony, but he's never heard back.
That is it. People busy out there sometimes, they tend to forget about you. I'm out of sight, so I'm out of mind.
In his years at Angola, Tiger's followed a path of self-improvement, rising through the ranks to earn trustee status and a coveted job on the prison's cattle range. But there's one inner struggle that he just can't resolve.
Being away from your loved ones, it eats at me. How I used to deal with it, I block them out. If I think about them, the pain set in. I made a promise to my children. I said, I ain't gonna leave you. I'm gonna be here for thick and thin. And I broke that promise. Not intentionally, but it still broke. But one of my goals is try to get back in my children's life and make amends with them.
Here at Angola, Tiger's made the best of prison life by abandoning his old street ways for a more honorable path. But some inmates have not. One of Angola's biggest problems is narcotics, which in prison can be even deadlier than they are on the street. Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Dixon devotes his days to solving this problem by training dogs to sniff out drugs.
Bird, out.
It's kind of in my blood.
Good girl.
Dixon is a fourth-generation Angola staff member, raised on the prison grounds.
My grandmother's daddy trained the dogs for the prison. My grandfather trained the dogs for the prison. My dad trained the dogs for the prison. Now I train the dogs for the prison. There's some powder cocaine right in this cavity under here, and the dog is actually smelling that. We probably have about 15 grams in there. So we raised the door, and yep, there's their toy that smelled like powder cocaine.
It's recommended to think that the center of narcotics is the center of their toy, so they're actually looking for the toy the whole time.
All right. I need your chain.
The drug dogs are a real important part of our chain of security.
Good boy.
Any drugs that make it onto these grounds pose a major security threat. An amount that seems insignificant on the outside becomes so valuable in prison that it could trigger violence or murder.
One of the concerns of the inmates having narcotics and being under the influence of narcotics is it may give them the courage to do harm to somebody or cause actions that they normally wouldn't have the courage to carry out. When they get on that stuff and they're not in their right mind, then they're really a problem.
Coming up next,
She was already 95.
a surprise drug raid.
An alert right here.
And later, Tiger receives a letter that could change his life forever.
I'm nervous, I had butterflies.
It's morning at Louisiana State Penitentiary. With her kids sent off to school, Assistant Warden Kathy Fontenot heads into the office for a morning meeting with Warden Kane.
20 years.
Come on. Let me see the movie.
I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, when I was 21.
As of today, Kathy's worked under Warden Kane for 2 full decades.
It's been half your life.
20 years.
I think that's great. You really done well.
funny?
Thank you
Isn't
for
that
carrying me along.
I can't really remember myself before I was here. Warden Kane was that person that could give me a chance.
She got a degree in criminal justice. She graduated with all kind of honors. And then she was working at Burger King. Anyway, we hired her and she started working in a tower. So what's that term you used about your job first? You worked your way down?
Worked my way down. Yeah.
I think that was divine intervention so we could discover you and find you.
Challenged me to be better than I ever thought I could be. So, a real father figure to me in a lot of ways.
Warden Kane and the rest of the prison staff have become like family to Kathy. Though she sometimes finds it difficult to balance her Angola family with the one at home.
Now don't slow down, don't go get married. Somebody's gonna make you stay home all the time and cook and quit your job.
No, sir.
You're making me where I can be real lazy and I love it, thank you.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
While it can be complicated, Kathy is grateful to have people she feels close to, both in and outside of Angola's gates. Most inmates are not so lucky. Tiger, who's serving life for second-degree murder, is shut away hundreds of miles from the only family he knows. To cope with his loss, Tiger throws himself into his work on Angola's range crew.
Watch it, Tiger.
Tiger, he's always been kind of quiet. He was a gangster out of New Orleans. We had to teach him middle man.
Go behind you.
For the first few years, I was still like a knucklehead.
Hey, come on.
They care about no rules and nothing like that. Constantly got in trouble.
Back up, I'm telling you, I kick back.
Going to the cell blocks, maximum security.
Now, get it out.
One day I just said it's time to make a change and I started chilling.
Here I come. Get off my gate. Get it off.
I came out here I started learning all these other things that I ain't never done in my entire life.
Hey. I mean, I done found something I really love doing, you know. I done changed a lot, I done matured. Hey.
No telling when one will turn on you.
Tiger's good track record has earned him more than an elite job. He's also permitted to compete in Angola's annual Inmate Rodeo.
Rodeo a couple of days. Right now, I gotta get past this.
Tiger's been competing in the rodeo for more than 10 years. And every year, he writes to his estranged son, Tony, inviting him to come and watch.
I'm trying to get my son to come up here. I ain't seen him since he was 8 years old. So right now, I'm trying to get him to come up to the rodeo. You know, he's 18 now.
At the end of each workday, Tiger leaves the open pastures for the confines of Prison Camp C. But even here, he finds ways to distract himself.
You have 1521. You done spent $16.01. Thank you. 2, 4, 5, 4. 3 Cajuns on the side.
This is what we call an Angola special tuna fish hookup.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do it however you want. You got tuna fish, sardines, you got oysters in there.
And jalapenos and some pickles.
You put the chips in there too.
Nah, I ain't gonna go. I'm gonna eat the chips on the side.
So see you at it. I mean, we do all kind of hookups in here.
Jailhousing right now.
Though tuna fish and potato chips may not seem like much, Tiger appreciates any departure from the tedium of life on the inside.
Sit down and clean up.
It's never long before the reality of prison comes charging back.
So y'all line it up here now?
On an inmate tip, K-9 officers Dixon and Tyser lead a surprise dorm raid. They've been told someone is hiding narcotics.
Where's it going? We saw a shakedown crew coming and got scared, man.
We want all our shakedowns to be surprises. If the inmates knows we're coming, they're gonna have a chance to hide it, flush.
Everybody walk to the front.
Inmates know the drill. It happens several times a week.
They'll come in and shake down your bed, empty out your boxes, your laundry sack, everything. Don't feel good when you just finish straightening it up and then you gotta redo it.
Shoes off, everything pops.
While officers shake down inmates outside the door, Dixon and Tyser deploy their drug dogs.
Check it.
Other officers rifle through lockboxes, while the inmates who own them stand by, indignant.
This frustrates me. Being in prison and having to go through this.
Hey, check it up.
Check it. Good boy. That's a good boy.
Got an alert right here.
Good boy.
Colonel Dixon right there's got an alert on the box. So we'll shake it down real tight.
Dixon's dog picks up the scent of narcotics near one set of bunks. Now, the heat is on to find them.
Checking if they modified or anything. Sometimes they'll have a cell phone or some kind of drugs in there.
It could be anywhere. In the radio, in your jar of peanut butter, in the lotion bottle. What you found?
Officers uncover something odd. Nearly 20 pounds of bacon stashed in a pillowcase. It may seem insignificant, but to an experienced officer, it's a smoking gun.
Convicts believe that they can conceal the odor of narcotics with food like onions and bacon. The offender wants the officer to believe that the dog alerted on food, which they don't. The dogs are trained to make sure that they're only alerting on narcotics. Any type of contraband has the potential to make a deadly situation at the penitentiary.
Now, officers fear that someone in the dorm is hiding narcotics. Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Dixon of Angola's K-9 unit
Got an alert right here.
has just made a bizarre discovery during a prison dorm raid.
We got it.
20 pounds of bacon stashed under a bed.
Good boy.
Inmates commonly use food to mask the smell of drugs.
Check under that box.
Now, Dixon and his crew suspect that there are narcotics nearby, but they can't find them anywhere. there's only one place left to look.
All the offenders one at a time for a strip search.
Strip searching is an unpleasant last resort.
They just start shoes off everything in your pocket.
But it's necessary in a world where any amount of drugs can push an inmate over the edge.
Well.
And in this case, it pays off.
Just a few minutes ago, while we were shaking it down, we got 11 sugar bags of weed.
And it was found as we was doing a strip search. I asked the inmate to spread his butt cheeks and visually did a visual body cavity search. Sugar bags, which they put their weed in, was wrapped up in a clear plastic bag right here, and it was in the crack of his butt.
11 sugar bags, sir.
They took it off the person of the offender?
Yes, they found it in between his buttocks, actually.
That's a convenient place to carry that.
Angola's head of investigations, Colonel Bobby Acord, takes it from here.
It's a challenge. You play chess with the offenders. They make a move, you make a move, and what you want to do is checkmate them.
Angola's officers come down hard on even the smallest quantities of weed. It's a way to show the inmates they mean business.
That's typically what you see. Street term is a mosquito leg. Just enough marijuana to get one hit. He can get his buzz on that, he can smoke it quick, and before an officer could really smell the marijuana smoke, he's flushed it, and he's got his hit.
The substance was positive for THC marijuana, 3.7 grams.
This is probably our biggest problem in our prison system here in Angola.
For today, Angola's staff have averted trouble. But every dawn brings new challenges. This morning, Assistant Warden Kathy Fontenot heads to Camp J, Angola's disciplinary unit, to handle an inmate complaint.
Hey.
But first, she's got to deal with an offender that's a little closer to home.
Matthew has been suspended for 1 day tomorrow because yesterday afternoon he apparently was using inappropriate language. And it just really concerns me. I have in mind to make him write lines all night tonight. Something about lying, fighting, and cursing.
Yeah, lie, fight, and curse.
I'm telling you, I'll make his hand hurt. Something has to hurt on him.
Disciplining her son will have to wait. Right now, Kathy has another dependent to deal with.
Hey, I needed to see an offender, Jerry Johnson.
Here at Camp J,
All right.
Angola's most defiant inmates live on lockdown 23 hours a day.
They're under our custody and our care. We are their guardians, and we are responsible for them. Their whole life is based on how well we do our job or not. How you doing, sir?
Jerry Johnson has requested a transfer from Angola to another state penitentiary, closer to his family.
I need to tell him that I talked to his mother. Maybe that'll help a little bit.
Just yesterday, Kathy fielded a phone call from his mother.
Jerry, how you doing? I'm Kathy Fontenot. We're talking to your mom. We know that you're interested in a transfer, but you're not qualified for a transfer right now because your conduct record is the way that it is.
I agree, I have had a violent past of what I used to do, but I've been trying to improve that lately so I can get closer to my family.
Right, and we know that. We know that. That's why I'm talking to your mom.
You think it's possible that I will leave here?
I do.
Because I don't like this place now.
Well, I can tell, and that's why I left my office and got Nicole to come see you. Okay?
I really appreciate it.
No problem. And I'm going to call your mama today again, and I'm going to say that I saw you, you know. When you become a mother, you really do understand how you would feel about, you know, how someone treats your kid when you're not around. All right, dear. Good to see you. All right, hang on.
Sometimes, it's easier for Kathy to deal with maximum security inmates than her 3 young children.
I'm having trouble with my middle boy, Chad.
For what?
He's using inappropriate language.
He learned from you.
Probably did. The mom thing is real challenging, real hard. I need to be a model for them. Like I'm a model here, I need to bring that model home and I need to spend that time with them.
As Kathy contemplates how to be successful as a mother and a warden. Tiger, a trusty inmate gearing up for the rodeo, wishes he could spend even 1 minute with his kids.
Daddy Young.
It's the one thing I always prayed for, you know, to have contact with my children.
Daddy Mal.
Even after a decade-long estrangement, each morning when the mail arrives, Tiger carries hope of hearing from his son Tony.
Roy Harris.
I just received my mail and I'm like, what's going on? One of the letters, I see my son's name on it. Man, hold up.
For the first time since he arrived at Angola more than 10 years ago, Tiger is staring down at a letter from his son.
I'm nervous, I had butterflies. It might be one of these letters where he letting his emotions out on, letting his anger out. He has the right to feel mad, feel angry. So, Dad, I love you, I miss you, I want to come see you. It was a blessing from God. He's 18, so now he has that choice to, you know, come see me.
There's still time for Tony to get tickets to see his father compete in this Sunday's rodeo.
If he makes it to this rodeo, that's going to be a wonderful experience for me. He's going to walk through that gate as a young man. I'm not going to be able to pick him up and hold him in my arms like I used to. I want to be able to hold him, even if it's just two men standing hugging, you know. And that's what I'm looking forward to for this Sunday.
Rodeo Sunday has finally arrived at Angola prison.
I need these spurs. I'm good to go.
Warden Kane checks in on the guys at the cattle range, who are often the best competitors.
You hold on with both hands or one hand?
One hand. I can't do the two hand. I'm scared to do the two hand.
This afternoon, Tiger will compete in front of a packed arena.
How old are you now? Your hair's getting gray.
37 years old.
37?
Mm-hmm. Trying to get my son to come up here to a rodeo. The last time I seen him was in a visiting shed in 2001.
How'd you get reunited with your son?
I mean, he contacted me, he wrote me, and when I first received his letter, it was like somebody snatched that breath out of me. It was like, you know, I wasn't expecting that. And
You have a life sentence?
yes, sir.
You better really work hard with him real quick, real fast, because see, you gotta watch out, because he's prone to be a little bit like you, just by the way it is.
Nah, I don't want to follow my footsteps.
Well, then you better get involved real quick with him. And just thank God he wrote you that letter.
Yes, I'm very pleased.
Do high five. Right. Okay, cool deal.
Nearby, thousands of free citizens flood the prison grounds to attend the second rodeo of the season.
You are about to enter a penal institution. All weapons, ammunition, alcohol,
Drugs must be deposited at the front gate
before entering the institution.
Okay, have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.
Kathy usually spends her Sundays at home with the kids. But today, she's the designated warden in charge.
We probably have about 2,000 inmates out here, and we've got the crowd intermingling, and of course we don't know who these people are. There are a lot of family members out here that could be crime victims out here. We have both security in uniform. We also have some undercover security here. We're prepared for anything.
Mixing inmates with free citizens on such a massive scale is risky. Some inmates see the rodeo as an opportunity to sneak narcotics into the prison, and there are always people on the outside willing to help make that happen. That's why Lieutenant Colonel Dixon's on duty at every event.
People come from all over the country to come to the rodeo, and you never know when a bad guy is going to come in.
In addition to the inmates who compete in the rodeo, thousands of prisoners attend to sell items they've made throughout the year,
Don't walk by too fast, you might miss something.
which they refer to as hobbycraft.
Look at the license plate right here.
It's here that illicit drug trade is most likely to occur.
Some of the trustee offenders are selling hobbycraft, and there's a lot of hands-on. You know, something can always slip by. We just stay on top of that and try to cover all the bases to ensure that that doesn't happen.
As Dixon and his team head up the Canine Investigations Unit,
Let's go over there and watch a few coming in just to see get a little feel for the crowd here today.
Colonel Acord supervises a team of plainclothes officers.
Our investigators are scattered throughout in plain clothes like we are, trying to blend in with the crowd. And those officers get a feel for how things are supposed to work.
Rodeo program, only $5. Just $5, only $5.
Let's walk around and just make a look through.
While Acord and his team fan out to patrol the grounds, the inmate rodeo contestants arrive.
Joe Smart!
They are all amateurs, and upon entering the arena, the enormous risk they're taking on comes into full focus. But Tiger is nervous for an entirely different reason.
My son's supposed to be coming today, you know, if he's able to make it. I ain't seen my son in over 10 years. For him to come up here and watch me participate in this rodeo, it's gonna be an emotional experience. Right now, I'm gonna go to the arena. Hopefully he shows up.
Tiger's not the only one who's anxious about the reunion. As his son Tony takes the long drive down Angola Road, he tells his fiancée about the last time he saw his father.
We were playing video games one night and everything, and he just left for a little while. He told me he'll be back to play video games with me, and he never came back. I'll never forget that night. I mean, that's one of the few memories as a kid I wish I can erase, for sure.
In the intervening years, Tony attempted to stay in touch with his dad, but it was out of his control.
I wrote my dad letters, my mom never sent them. There was nights I sat up crying at night, but my mom never sent the letter, and I'm just glad, you know, I'm here today and I get to see my dad. I can't be angry at this guy. I love him, he's my dad, you know.
By me coming to prison, you know, I took away from them what they deserve to have, a father. Hey, right here. Whoa, girl. If he's upset, angry, you know, sad, he has a right to feel that way.
Hello, y'all got a rodeo?
Yeah.
This way.
Okay, all right.
I can never make up for the time lost, but all I can do is, if he gives me the chance that I'll be here for you, I don't just want to be their father, you know, I want to be their friend.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the 47th annual Angola Prison Rodeo? Make some noise!
It's the second rodeo of the season at Angola Prison. Among the 10,000 spectators is Tiger's estranged son, Tony.
It's a little nerve-wracking. I mean, I haven't seen my dad in so long. We'll see what happens.
Tiger prepares to ride, hoping his son is somewhere in the stands.
I don't want to see him get worried, you know, because of what I'm about to go do. I already know I am going kamikaze.
Meanwhile, Colonel Acord springs into action. A cooperative inmate has just informed him that a visitor may be selling drugs at the rodeo.
We picked up some intelligence. There's a guy, should be from the New Orleans area, should be black, should have some dreadlocks. Supposedly, he's trying to trade drugs for hobbycraft.
Drugs for hobbycraft may sound strange, but some of the handiwork is worth hundreds of dollars. And since inmates aren't allowed to handle money themselves, bartering is common.
We got some new drawstring purses back here. It's a 3-piece bucket set right there, and purses on that rack right there. Everything on sale today.
Acord immediately sends investigators to scour the grounds and comb through surveillance footage for the suspect.
See the one who just stood up?
Yeah.
I think that's him. I'm almost positive that's him.
He alerts Kathy, who's warden in charge for today's rodeo, that they've spotted the man in question.
All right, I'm coming. It appears that the guy did have some drugs, marijuana for sure. Maybe some heroin at this point is what I've heard.
While Kathy rushes to the scene, investigators apprehend the suspect in the parking lot and and Dixon's canines search his car.
Hey, we're back. What we got here?
He was talking to a lot of inmates. He was real familiar with them. Kept watching Warren Delaney real hard.
Really?
So we just had a suspicion he might have had a little something, you know. We brought the dogs around there. Both dogs hit on the car, the passenger door. And when he went to shake him down, he found a couple little bags of marijuana inside the car, and I think a couple of syringes. But we're still looking, you know.
Does he know anybody?
Yes.
He's not a relative of anybody yet? We don't know that yet?
Not yet, but he did buy some hydrocraft from one inmate.
How long you had this?
From last week.
Last week?
He said y'all got this today.
Nah, I ain't bought none of that. That's the old paper. That's the paper I had with me. I don't know how did they get the deal on that.
Yeah, the dude passed you that through the fence. I saw you take it in your hand.
Nah.
Oh, yes.
The man's story doesn't add up. Acord turns him over to local law enforcement, but the investigation isn't over yet.
We suspect that he passed marijuana to somebody else.
If a drug trade did take place, then somewhere in the arena, an inmate is holding narcotics. Meanwhile, Tiger is about to take the ring.
Tiger, you ready?
His estranged son, Tony, looks on with his fiancée by his side.
Up next, Todd Toussaint.
That's my dad. My dad. Get on up over. Get on up. Concentrate, son. Watch that right there. You hear me? Watch that there.
Tensions run high inside Angola prison's rodeo arena as Tiger mounts a ferocious bull. Stayed on the bull long enough to win the event.
It was exciting. I didn't really understand what was going on, but it was just cool. I look forward to seeing my dad after this.
I don't know what happened. All I know is he gave it to me, and he gave me a little something to take with it.
The next Sunday got Godspeed for this, the Louisiana State Police Rodeo.
As the day winds down,
Line up over there.
the investigations unit orders inmates strip searched as they exit the arena.
Take some shoes off, everything you find.
They are looking for the drugs they believe have been smuggled in.
It's the first time we've done this in a long time. Just shake them down, see if we can find something. So we'll see what happens.
But it's necessary. Any small amount of narcotics that prisoners manage to sneak in could blaze a trail for even larger quantities.
It's not just a small amount of marijuana. It's a lot more serious. It's a situation that shows the drug deal possibly that leads to drugs within the prison, which is always a bad thing. Because that leads to violence. Come on, Mary. Good boy.
What smell like?
In this case, Angola's security officers averted another dangerous situation.
We got weed.
It turns out an inmate did trade crafts for drugs,
And we've recovered marijuana.
but he couldn't get the contraband past the strip search.
This guy had a bad day. He had the drugs in his bunch, but whenever they went to search him, he pulled it out and tried to swallow it.
From his buttocks to his mouth?
Yes, tried to swallow it.
The inmate caught with drugs just made his life in prison a whole lot worse.
They'll never attend another rodeo, ever. So it's a lot for them to risk.
As inmates filter out of the rodeo, Tony hopes to reunite with his father after more than 10 years apart.
Excuse me, man. Excuse me. You know where to find Tiger at?
Yeah, that's right. Wait for it.
All right.
As a trustee, Tiger will be allowed to spend some one-on-one time with his son.
Is that him on a horse?
The last time Tony saw his dad, he was a small child.
I've been waiting for this queen. I've been here for that. I missed you. I'm so sorry. Man, let me look at you. Boy, I miss you, Dad.
I'm so sorry, son.
How you been?
All right. How you doing?
Good.
You ain't trying to follow my footsteps, huh?
No.
All right.
11 years, man.
Came by yourself?
I came with my girlfriend.
You gonna be shy or you gonna come high? This girl you talking
Yeah.
about?
It's my fiance right there.
How you doing? My name is Tiger. Spot. Good. About to be my daughter-in-law.
Why didn't I get your eyes, man?
You don't want these eyes. Trust me, you don't want these eyes. I got something for you.
What you got today?
That's my buckles that I won from the last year rodeo.
You sure you want to give this to me now?
I ain't gonna wear them all. Come on. So what are you doing in life?
I'm going to school now. I'm going next year for a business degree. I played high school with starting quarterback. I played point guard in basketball. I got a lot to tell you, man.
Okay, come on, guys.
After a trying day as the warden in charge,
Ready?
Kathy resumes her role as mom in charge.
Being warden for the weekend can be exciting.
I called it back.
I mean, you're the person that everyone here is going to go to, and everyone knows it.
All right, seatbelt. We do wear many different hats. I mean, we juggle. I'm a woman. I can do that. I just constantly remind myself, the kids come first. It doesn't need to be about me climbing the ladder.
My time really needs to be with my kids. I need to spend time with them. And finding that time is what I'm trying to do.
Is an alternate universe where men live in isolation, locked far away from the only people they love and trust.
So my nephew, he live with his baby.
Those lucky enough to maintain contact with family
I wish you'd be here too.
have a small window to the outside world.
Oh, maybe recorded or monitored.
But balancing these relationships with the realities of life behind bars can be a serious challenge.
I'd like to pray for all the families throughout the world who have incarcerated members in prison. We pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer.
Prison can put a strain on any relationship, and not just for inmates and their families. Angola's staff deal with similar struggles.
Hey, boys. Hey, it's that time. Come on, man.
Kathy Fontenot is not only an assistant warden,
You're gonna wear your new pants today, bud.
she's the devoted mother of 3.
See that? Don't you feel better? You look better. The mom thing is real challenging, real hard. There's so much at stake. I feel a lot more confident at the warden thing. All right. Very good.
As a key member of Warden Kane's staff, Kathy spends her days with inmates who have committed rape and murder, and handles issues ranging from drug use to inmate suicide.
You want me to make you pancakes you can have? Or no? No?
Such high-pressure work takes its toll. Divorce rates among Angola's staff are high, and Kathy's marriage has recently ended.
We still love each other. It's just that, we both want separate things.
I'll see ya.
For Kathy and other officers, keeping prison life separate from home life is the key to staying sane. But for inmates, maintaining a connection with the outside world may be the only way to survive. Every day, Todd Plaisance, also known as Tiger, pins his hopes on hearing from his family.
Sometimes you get mail, sometimes you don't. See, we get lucky tonight. serving a natural life sentence for a second-degree murder. Came to Angola in 2000. I was supposed to get married in February, and I fell in January. So, wedding plans got canceled. My ex-old lady, she moved on, got involved with somebody else. The only thing I ask is that she won't prevent me from seeing my children. George Taylor. No, I can't raise them no more because I'm here, but don't take that from me.
The old weapon. Kinda young.
Any word from home is a blessing. But there's one letter Tiger's been waiting for since he arrived in Angola more than 10 years ago. Tiger has written letter after letter to his son Tony, but he's never heard back.
That's it. People busy out there sometimes.
They tend to forget about you. You know, I'm out of sight, so I'm out of mind.
In his years at Angola, Tiger's followed a path of self-improvement, rising through the ranks to earn trustee status and a coveted job on the prison's cattle range. But there's one inner struggle that he just can't resolve.
Being away from your loved ones, it eats at me. How I used to deal with it, I block them out. Because if I think about them, the pain set in. I made a promise to my children. I said, I ain't gonna leave you. Won't be here for thick and thin. And I broke that promise. Not intentionally, but it still broke.
But one of my goals is to try to get back in my children's life and make amends with them.
Here at Angola, Tiger's made the best of prison life by abandoning his old street ways for a more honorable path. But some inmates have not. One of Angola's biggest problems is narcotics, which in prison can be even deadlier than they are on the street. Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Dixon devotes his days to solving this problem by training dogs to sniff out drugs.
Bird, out. It's kind of in my blood. Good girl.
Dixon is a fourth-generation Angola staff member, raised on the prison grounds.
My grandmother's daddy trained the dogs for the prison. My grandfather trained the dogs for the prison. My dad trained the dogs for the prison. Now I've trained the dogs for the prison. There's some powder cocaine right in this cavity under here, and the dog is actually smelling that. We probably have about 15 grams in there. So we raised the door, and yep, there's their toy that smelled like powder cocaine.
It's recommended to think that the center of narcotics is the center of their toy, so they're actually looking for the toy the whole time.
All right.
The drug dogs are a real important part of our chain of security.
Good boy.
Any drugs that make it onto these grounds pose a major security threat. An amount that seems insignificant on the outside becomes so valuable in prison that it could trigger violence or murder.
One of the concerns of inmates having narcotics and being under the influence of narcotics is it may give them the courage to do harm to somebody or cause actions that they normally wouldn't have the courage to carry out. When they get on that stuff and they're not in their right mind, then they're really a problem.
Coming up next,
She was already 95.
a surprise drug raid.
Got an alert right here.
And later, Tiger receives a letter that could change his life forever.
I'm nervous, I had butterflies.
It's morning at Louisiana State Penitentiary. With her kids sent off to school, Assistant Warden Kathy Fontenot heads into the office for a morning meeting with Warden Kane.
20 years.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see the movie.
I didn't know if you knew that.